Hello, my name's Ryan, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at my big data module. Um, yeah, so in this module, we had 4 weeks to complete and learn what we needed. We used R and R Studio to use databases and the data in them to create graphs, and then use those graphs to learn some more from that data that we originally had. Really making use of uh, quickly gathering that information and collating it to uh, look at the relevant side of the data, what we need to find out quickly, rather than going through each individual input of data and going, oh yeah, that's number 34 of people liking vegetable soup, for example. Um, so yeah, we had to. I can't. What was it again? It was the company was Sailing in Dreams, and we had to do set tasks for these. Um, we had to also create PDFs of the R Markdown. So not only did we have to learn the R code in 4 weeks, we also had to learn how to use R Markdown and then do the project as well within those 4 weeks. Um, so yeah, we can see some lot of what's it? This is a table using R Markdown to represent obviously whatever data I put in there, making it look nice and presentable, which is basically what R Markdown is. It's to allow you to make a presentable piece of work and have it looking nice for anyone willing to read it. Um, yeah, so this is the first bit here is all of the information about the passengers. Like, what data do we have about the data without that about the passengers? Sorry. Um, yeah, and essentially this was divided into three different databases, and we had to combine those three databases, and this was the end result. I can't remember exactly which ones were in each database, but I believe it was about about that in the first one, these in the second one, and the rest in the last one. We'll see, I believe, as we go further on. So this second one here is information only about foreign passengers, and so we had to decide what data we needed about the foreign passengers. Did we need the price they paid? Did we need the propensity? Did we need their job? We definitely needed the foreign um, data about them, which I believe was one if they were foreign and two if they weren't. Um, so to get all of the people that were foreign, we definitely needed the data of the foreign type. Otherwise, we wouldn't know if they were foreign or not. Um, we put in a few little bits of data just to make it a little bit more interesting, and compare the different people that were foreign and how much they paid. Which this person paid a measly £62.39 for a nice sale. So then we move on to some graphs that we made about this one. So we compared this, like, of only foreign travellers, um, with the price they paid compared by first time. So we looked at whether they travelled first time, which is either a yes or a no, and then whether they will or won't travel again, which is defined by the green or the red. Um, and obviously got the price on the y-axis there. Is it the y? I believe it's actually the x-axis. Pardon my mistake. Um, but yeah, we can see as a general consensus that people who did pay less will travel again, just based off of this. Obviously, it didn't matter too much on whether it was their first time or not. There was a little bit in it, but not too much. But the price, you can see, heavily reflected uh, whether they would or wouldn't travel again, which was very interesting. And we move on to a second graph, which I believe again is about the foreign travellers. Price paid compared to reason for travelling. Ah, okay. So this was based off of the whether they were going for work or holiday, the reason they were travelling. Um, and there was no real sort of difference between it. It was more the price, to be honest. No one really cared whether they were going on holiday or whether they were working. And we used a box plot for both of these graphs. Then we move on to, is this the same one? I believe it is actually the same one. So this one is how many customers would travel again compared to price. Um, it was a much better way to look at the major factor, which is obviously the price. Whenever someone travels, the major factor is going to be the price. There are obviously other aspects to why, when, or where they're traveling, which could influence it slightly, but again, everyone's looking at the price. But this document clearly goes through that and shows us that that is true. Um, so yeah, this one shows us who would and wouldn't travel again based on price, and we got a count on the left-hand side to show us how many of those would travel again or wouldn't travel again. So we can see that around the top end, actually, oh, that's actually not clever design, sorry. I have red for travel again and a blue for don't travel again. Should sort of be the other way around there, but yeah, that confused me a little bit. We can obviously see the people at the lower end here, that there are more people who would travel again than wouldn't, and this raises sort of evenly at the midpoint and then goes up in favour of not travelling again once the price gets higher. And yeah, so there's a little explanation here going on about that as well. Now we come to average score compared to price based on propensity. So we then look at the customer's scores of their travel based on the price and split this up into whether they would or wouldn't travel again. And we got a nice line in there showing us the average at each point, like the average price they paid for, a score of two, sorry, is averages people paying £500, and if people pay about £450, they're more likely to give it a 5. Obviously, that's a big outlier there, but that's what that line there is telling us. And we could see that people decided to give a higher score the less they paid across the board. This is exaggerated massively in the don't travel again, which really, if you give a give a score of 4, I'm not really quite sure why you wouldn't travel again, but there we go. So yeah, this module was really about looking at lots of data and allowing to create visual representations of that very, very quickly. Instead of going through plotting each point on a graph yourself, flicking back and forth, plotting points for hours upon hours. It's a nifty little program to quickly collate the data and get some visual representation of what's going on, what affects what, and allow you to make smart business decisions in the end, which is really good and interesting to look at. If we move on, we can see here average score compared to price based on gender. We can see just from this line here, there's no real split between the two. It's quite even, or very even. Obviously, we've got the outlier here, which is female, Obviously, if that one was male, it would be the other way round, or if we had one male and one female, it would continue on. But as we don't, it's very, very similar. In fact, I think it is exactly similar. It is very close if it isn't perfectly the same. Um, yeah, so now we move to an interesting one. So we've got average score compared to price based on job. So in this one, I decided to be a bit more clever about it and create dots of different colours for each different job. Obviously, it makes more sense to do it that way and put price and score on the axes. So yeah, we got the lines here. We can see, people who had teaching jobs, they 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 gave a fairly, standard score based on the price they paid. Um, the higher the price, essentially, the lower the score usually was, and this theme follows throughout all 5 different jobs. Um, if someone essentially got a free travel, they would be more willing to give a higher score because that didn't come out of their pocket. It definitely represents what it's supposed to. So yeah, we go on and on, answering certain questions that were given to us in valid ways using um, different types of plots. We've seen different graphs throughout this document, and it's really about choosing the right graph to represent the data correctly and allow you to visually understand it more clearly and concisely to create those better decisions within a business, for example. Yeah. So thank you for watching this one, and yeah, see you next time.